Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Stepping Stone. It's your boy, Mr. Stone, and I'm out here in China, though I'm not sure that really matters for this video. So I want to just talk. Haven't done that in a little while, and I want to be honest about how I've been and how things are going. And just sort of where I'm at in my journey and of life and of this channel and my confusions, I guess. Along with my worldview, and I don't know. I've had a lot of trouble making sense of things lately. So where do I begin? Over the past week or so, I have returned. I'm back in China, and it's been kind of a struggle. I have been feeling a lot of doubt and criticism, self-criticism, and just negativity, and just feeling like a failure, feeling undeserving, feeling just I don't know, just feeling like this hasn't really been panning out. You know, the whole idea behind this channel has been actually I didn't really know what it was at all at first, but over time I've kind of just taken things a stepping stone at a time, and the whole idea was to find out what I want to do with this channel and with my life, and just kind of take things a stepping stone at a time. And I've certainly learned a lot. I've created a lot of frameworks. I know that I wanted to build a life that I actually believe in, that prioritizes the things that I believe matter to me and to other people. I hope to inspire people and inspire myself at the end of the day. For me, I felt like the biggest needs or areas that the world could use some help in, for me, that was like curiosity, exploration, understanding. I felt like the world could be a much better place if we tried harder to understand each other and understand ourselves. I feel like a lot of our problems also stem from not understanding ourselves, and prioritizing things that actually matter. Our health, our wellness, our mental health, our relationships, our connections, our community, our physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, whatever that might mean to you. And that's kind of been what this has all been about for myself, and my hope was to inspire other people to explore these things as well. And it certainly helped me a lot. I've come a long way, and I've grown a lot, and I'm definitely not the person I was or used to be. I use the term cognitive resonance, meaning living a life in alignment with what I believe, and I've definitely made a lot of progress in that, and have felt very excited and inspired and content with a lot of the things I've done. One of my largest struggles that I've been wanting to improve on is fear of judgment. Right now I feel a little nervous. It still feels scary to admit to my struggles, and to be honest about my struggles and honest about my dreams and who I am and who I want to be and who I think I want to be and all these things. I've tried a lot to be radically honest and vulnerable, and this has been a week where I've struggled a lot emotionally, man. I think it's a release of a lot of past pain and stuff, and so that's kind of left me in a rut. But apart from my personal life, and part of this, I want this channel to be personal. I want it to be genuine. I want it to be honest. It'd be cool to build a community, build connection, to talk about things, and I don't know, just kind of brainstorm how to move forward in this world, and with our own lives, which is really heavy, deep stuff. I realize, I'm aware, but that's kind of just how I experience the world. I'm a very analytical, very philosophical person, very curious person. I ask a lot of questions, and sometimes maybe beyond my own good. And I feel like a lot of people, I don't often feel very understood, or that I can be understood. I feel like my framework and my worldview is not the same as many other people. And one of the things that I wanted or set out or intended to do in terms of cognitive resonance is be the person I want to be, have integrity, and talk my truth and stuff, and talk about things that matter to me and that I think matter to others. And I've just been feeling pretty lost, pretty disoriented lately. And it's not even just my personal life, a lot of that has to do with more macro events, more large scale things. Particularly stuff going on back home in the US, the US of A, America. And, it's hard not to want to keep up with everything, and hard not to feel concerned or scared of the direction things are going. And I personally have been very, very invested and interested. I don't know if interest is the right word, but I've been keeping up a lot with all the things going on with the Epstein files. And with this latest batch, I've been keeping up very heavily, and I know not everyone has. Maybe by now, I would hope, people are more locked in and focused up. I don't know, man. I feel like lately it's hard to... I hope you can hear me. I hope it's not too windy. It's hard to... It's hard to know what's real, I've been feeling a lot for a while that some things just seem inorganic. They seem planned, or something feels off, And the phrase I think of is like, the world is a stage, you know? One of the things I had hoped to do with my channel, one of the elements, I mean, I've been exploring this whole time, but one of the elements I had hoped for is to, show people what life is like elsewhere. I'm here in China. Show people what people are like elsewhere. I feel like there's a lot of misunderstanding. It's easy to really misunderstand people or places or cultures or things or traditions or whatever it may be. When we only go off of what we hear, it's so easy to come up with some perception, typically negative. And I've felt that these things matter. How we view people and communities and groups, that matters. I've felt a lot of, in my personal life, a lot of pain having to do with being an immigrant in the US. And I felt like it's important to show people what other places are like, other communities, other people, and I don't know, I guess like unite people around the world, humanity. I almost feel a bit, why am I lying? I do feel a bit emotional saying that. And I don't know, man. I feel like so much of what we kind of just take for granted, or what we the understandings we have about the world and how it works, the systems we have, the institutions we have, it's just, if you've really looked into the Epstein files, I don't know about you guys, but it just really makes you question, like, what is real, what is organic, what like actually happens out of like true, I don't know, just organic conflict. And I studied peace and conflict and global studies in university, and I've always had an interest in those things and a very big fear of conflict. And I guess I've always wanted to resolve conflict, whether that's interpersonal, which almost all conflict is, or personal, intrapersonal, personal conflict. And I came up with a mission statement with my therapist for this channel, for my life really, and that was to inspire people to be more curious, connected, and understanding of themselves, others, and the world around them, so they may live a more healthy, authentic, fulfilling, joyful, and harmonious life. Be unafraid to dream and be unrelenting in the pursuit of their dreams. And so that's been my hope, and that's been my North Star, I guess you could say, for myself too. But I don't know, lately I just feel very confused and dejected and disillusioned, and I don't know, I just, so much shit in those files is just like, it just makes you question things. And I haven't gone through them myself through the official website, but I've seen dozens of videos probably at this point of people going through them. And I don't know, it's some horrible stuff. And I think the really mind-boggling stuff is the conversations there are about, like wars, like talking about Libya and starting a war in Ukraine and versus Russia, and you know, even stuff that are like more just like casual and weird, you know, for someone like me who grew up playing video games, Gen Z, you know, to learn that apparently, I could be wrong, let me know if I'm wrong, but from what I've heard, and I've tried not to go on social media for these type of information, because things definitely get sensationalized on there, but even stuff like Ghislaine Maxwell being the top, I think it was the highest rated moderator of all time on Reddit, and being like heavily curating curating content on r/world, which, if you don't know, on Reddit is like one of the, I think, the biggest forums. And it's just, you know, I feel like it's not a coincidence that like billionaires are always the one trying to seek influence through media, you know, whether that's mainstream media, news networks, or even sponsoring independent media, or whether that's social media. I mean, these are like all owned by billionaires, right? And the scariest, most concerning thing to me is, even when we feel like we're critical thinkers and we are not prone to believing propaganda or whatever, which I feel like is such a misused word these days, but there's just so much disinformation and misinformation and all these things, and it just feels like, you know, there's this analogy that I've heard recently, where if you put like black ants and red ants in a jar and, you know, let them do their thing, they don't fight each other, they coexist, they kind of just leave each other alone, do their own things. But once you start shaking the jar, then they start attacking each other. They get disoriented, they get scared, and they go at each other. And unbeknownst to them, they weren't each other's problems. It's the person shaking the jar, you know? And I don't know, man. Lately I just feel like an ant. I feel like we're all just little ants. And it's just so strange, you know, reading these emails, reading these texts, and just seeing how casually people talk, you know, billionaires talk about all these horrible things and all these major influential things, you know? Like, apparently Epstein created or was a huge proponent of microtransactions in video games, which anyone who's a gamer knows, like, every video game now has microtransactions. And I think in that email he said it would help to make young people more, I think it was something about better workers in the economy or some shit. And I don't know, I just see all these things, all these signs, so much things to be concerned about. And I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I just don't really know anymore right now. And there's some frustration to that, because it's like, you know, people who rule over you, control you, they want you to feel powerless, they want you to feel hopeless. And I don't know. I feel like my life is in a lot of ways influenced by, I mean, all our lives are highly influenced by the decisions of very powerful people. And if the people who rule and make decisions and all these things they're doing all these horrendous things, I mean, what do you do at that point? Especially when it seems pretty blatant that the US government is involved or complicit, or at this point actively covering up as well. And I hate politics. I think everyone does. I hate talking about things like this. I have for most of my life, and it's heavy, it's unpleasant, it's confrontational, it sucks ass, man. But I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of how I can best serve others and the world. And I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure. I haven't really felt like there's been much. Well, I mean, shout out to the people who do watch, but haven't felt there's been much success or traction or value being found in what I'm doing. And I guess I wonder if maybe there's something deeper I yearn to do, but I'm scared of, like talking about things like this. And yeah, I don't know. It's been a really rough week, and very emotional week. And I still don't have the answers. This helps me feel somewhat better, at least. And I've found that it helps to acknowledge how we're truly feeling, and acknowledge when we feel stuck or plateaued or lost. So yeah, I hope someone listened to that. Thank you if you did. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's easy to be checked out. It's easy to and it's valid, like we all need to put food on the table, we all need to survive. I guess let me touch on that, huh? I feel like that's one of the things, what I'm doing is, I'm not working when I'm out here in China. If you don't know, I tend to come here for a few months at a time and just focus on trying to pursue my dreams, build my own life. And one of the things that allows is a lot of time to process and to really think and reflect and evaluate my life and what I want to do. And it's very hard for someone who is exhausted, who's working their ass off all the time, to think about these things, to advocate for themselves or talk with others about it, to do stuff, civil actions like go on strikes or protests or all these things. And there's so much doomerism and so much just bickering back and forth. But I don't know, man. It's just it feels by design, It feels by design. And for me personally, that's part of why I've wanted to break out and, build a life where I don't need to neglect things that are important, things that impact societies or communities or people I love. I don't need to neglect my health or other people's health. I can make time for people I care about. All these things. But I don't know. It's just, the world's a crazy place, and I feel like so many people never even have the chance. If you're someone that got trafficked on the Epstein Island, Never had a chance, man. I don't know. Anyways, that's pretty heavy stuff. But that's where my mind's been at. And I don't feel like I have many people to talk about it. So maybe someone out there in the world can relate. So yeah, yeah. But at least for now, I'm alive and well, sort of, and able to enjoy some peace and quiet here in I guess that'll do it. Thanks for watching.